All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of The Coach and the Critic, the new official True Gaming United podcast. And just for the record, this is going to be the roughest audio you will ever hear on this new podcast, simply because we do not have a functioning microphone this time, but we do have an iPad. Jose, would you like to introduce yourself?
No, absolutely not.
You know,
mysterious.
That
I am
checks out.
mysterious.
I am Oliver. This is Mysterious. Welcome to our new podcast, which we probably should have planned this out a little better. What do you want to start with? You want to jump right into sports? Because this podcast is a whole lot of things. It's gaming, it's sports, it's life stuff, it's news things, it's maybe politics. We don't know. Jose, what do you want to start with?
Well, I think if we're going to jump right into this thing, let's start off with the basis of our current economy and what just happened in today's trade deadline.
Right. So
because it's the non-official official trade deadline.
Is it not
No,
deadline?
It's
I don't think
it's the official off-season for the MLB and postseason. What are your honest thoughts about the Dodgers winning the 2024 World Series?
Hopefully the last one I'll ever be alive for.
Honestly, I agree with you. I think the Dodgers were not the team to make it that far, let alone win it. I think there were better teams out there, and not including bias. I think, when you take a look at the postseason, there are a lot of teams that crashed and burned.
And y'all were one of them. I had high hopes that you guys,
had
the Padres,
very high
would stop
hopes.
them.
I had very high hopes that the Padres... I think a lot of the country had high hopes that we were going to be the team to knock them out. But when you look at it, I think there are big, important teams like the Braves that did not make it.
Nope.
And the Guardians that did make it but couldn't do a thing.
The Giants had a very, very good shot of making it and fucked up.
I think for you guys, it came down to not enough games left.
Yeah, it was injuries. There was a lot of injuries. Also, a completely silent trade deadline that ended up with nothing happening. Even breakout seasons, some guys like Elliot Ramos couldn't help.
Correct. And speaking of that, of not picking anybody up, who was the one guy that you guys lost this year?
Jorge Soler? Oh, what do you mean by lost? You mean Snell, who signed with the Dodgers just now? 5 years. I was like, was it 180 million? Was it?
120 million for 5 years.
I thought it was more than that, but yeah.
I think it's a ridiculous contract. I think you guys retained somebody of the caliber of Yastrzemski.
Yeah, which is cheap.
Very. I mean, he's a guy that deserves much more money than what you have now.
Yeah.
Snell's a good pitcher. He pitched in San Diego.
When he's really good, he's insane, as he proved last year. First no-hitter, and then one of the best stretches following that, for the rest of the season, of any pitcher ever. Absolutely incredible.
Putting up, 10 consecutive strikeouts per game, roughly?
But when he's bad, he's awful. And especially early on in the season, he is atrocious.
Look at the last 2 postseasons that he spent in San Diego. He sat on the bench for 1 game, and then when he did come in, gave up 4 runs.
Then there's all that shit about him not really keeping in good shape last offseason, due to not having a team to play for, showing up to spring training completely out of shape for it, and not being able to pitch for the first month of the season for the Giants, and then before the All-Star game, never making it out of the 4th inning due to the fact he was awful. Just wow. Yeah, no, I was right. $182 million 5-year contract with the Dodgers.
180?
182. Ooh. That is...
Good Lord. I wonder what the signing bonus is for that.
I wonder if there's any incentive for that. Any incentives on top of that, do you think?
Well, I mean...
Which we won't know that for
probably, a several $1 million investment into that. I think another interesting thing that people are starting to pay attention to...
Comes out to $36.4 million per year for that contract.
For 5 years?
That is fucking insane.
It is.
Soto... we already thought they were out. We already thought the Dodgers were out on Soto anyway, because of price. But now they've dropped money on Snell. I think they're absolutely out.
Keep in mind, there is no way they signed Snell to a 5-year, $182 million contract and still have the money to go after Soto.
Right, but we didn't even. There has
got to be an MLB tax. A severe one.
Yeah,
because it's going to turn into the same thing that the Yankees are at right now. Mind you, the Yankees were a part of this Snell issue too. The Yankees were trying to grab Snell as well.
Yeah, he just didn't want to go to New York.
But he does not want to go to New York, period. He said that on so many different podcasts, many different times during interviews with Don and Mud in San Diego, and even announced it on, I believe, one of the broadcasts with them is, I don't want to go to New York. I don't mind playing in New York, but I do not want to play for the Yankees.
Right. So if you had to pick one kind of random team to get Soto, who would you pick? Like, not in a big discussion right now. So not Dodgers, Giants, Yankees.
Braves.
Braves? I could see it. I could also see Blue Jays.
I think they're very much underrated as a team that could afford his price tag. Yeah. I don't think they can.
No.
But they also are selling off Sale, and they've got to give up some of these other great pitchers.
Yeah,
Sale is a free agent. Right. He's gone. But to the same respect, they also need to pick up some big-time arms. You still have Garrett Crochet in there. He's still a free agent. Yeah. There are many guys that need to be picked up, and I have a feeling it's going to come down to what happened last year. Not a single one of these pitchers got picked up, and it's going to come down to you're in the middle of your spring training. Your main guy gets hurt, and these guys aren't ready to pitch.
No, they still have him for another year.
Crochet?
No, Sale.
What's that? Sale. No, I know. He wants out.
Really, because he hasn't opted out yet, and I don't think he will. The thing about that is a lot of their young guys are on rookie contracts who aren't getting paid a whole lot. I think that
which is good for them, but I don't think they do.
I do.
No, because he's still paying Bo Bichette a frick ton of money.
He's also on a rookie contract. He's not getting paid a whole ton, and also they're probably going to lose Vlad Guerrero Jr. pretty soon. I don't think he's sticking around.
I think he needs to leave.
Yeah.
If he wants to progress in his career, he could do one of two things. No. He could go to New York in one of the teams.
Yeah. The Mets
or he's got to come to the West Coast.
The Mets are a big one in discussion for Soto because they're also losing Pete Alonso.
That's true.
I don't think
Pete Alonso, from what I'm reading and just watching ESPN, he wants to come back west.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's no way the Dodgers are going to pick him up.
The Giants already said they're making an offer on him and Soto.
Of course they are.
And one of the big things, though, is that it depends if Soto's finally going to listen to reason and become a DH. Because he's not built for the outfield.
No, he's not.
He plays a shitty outfield. He's slow and he can't throw it very
well. And this is my hot take. I would rather have an injured Tatis play in the outfield than a healthy Soto.
I don't think that's a hot take. That's just true. I don't think Tatis is a great outfielder. He's pretty good. He could be if he worked on his fundamentals a little bit more. But I think you're right about that for sure.
Thoughts on Paul Skeens over Jackson Merrill in the?
It's tough, but I think it's the right call.
I agree. Paul Skeens.
Dude came out of fucking nowhere.
Rookie season. Shows up game 1 of the regular season, pitches almost a no-hitter.
He showed up he wasn't even there on opening day. It's May because I was just gotten back from California at the time. So that's a big one. Another one, big pitching signing, or at least big in terms of money, is Yusei Kikuchi, formerly of the Mariners and Astros, going to the Angels for over $60 million across 2 years. I don't know why they're doing that. Not a bad pitcher. He's okay. He's not going to win you Cy Youngs unless they see something that we don't. In which case,
totally plausible.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not professional talent scouts. We are MLB fans. But still, I can't see him being worth that much. That's an insane contract. One big thing that we've not really mentioned. This is not a player signing, but Buster Posey being actually taking a role in the Giants organization in baseball operations is pretty big, because one of the issues they had for a while is no one wanted to work under Farhan Zaidi as the GM, because there was a general consensus that he didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I still think he was on his payroll from the Dodgers while he was working with the Giants, judging by some of the decisions he made. That guy was absolutely insane, and not in a good way. That guy was completely crazy. I'm trying to think if there's any other big signings. I mean, there's players who have retired. I think it was Alex Kirilloff retired earlier this offseason, right at the end of the year, right after the World Series, due to injuries. I think it was Kirilloff. I'll need to check that out. I'll just do it right now. I need to take a look at this, see who retired and who hasn't.
There are a lot of big names out there that I say big, but they're middle class ball player names that are sitting there with I'm 1 foot in on the team that I'm on, 1 foot out. I think a lot of it's going to come down to money.
Speaking of the Angels, I completely forgot about this the other day. The Giants signed Max Stassi.
That's right.
He was a backup catcher, minor league contract.
Pretty good.
The Giants have an interesting habit of signing completely random backup catchers. I assume this means that Kurt Casale is not returning, which is a shame. People really did like him defensively. They'll sign Stephen Vogt and make him good. Kurt Casale make him amazing defensively. Patrick Bailey won a Gold Glove. He's still there as their day-to-day catcher. I don't think that's going to change for a long time. And I'm glad we finally offloaded Joey Bart. I'm glad he's playing well in Pittsburgh. But in San Francisco, what a fucking bust he turned out to be. There was absolutely unfair pressure put on him because he was seen to be like the next Buster Posey. That's unfair, but it was bad. Sorry,
John Heyman just reported that the Dodgers are still going to make a run at Corbin Burns, Max Fried, as well as Roki Sasaki.
I don't know a whole lot about Roki.
They still want Soto.
The Giants are currently looking a lot internationally, specifically to Korea. We're looking at a lot of those guys.
They are.
Those leagues are having a bigger and bigger impact on a yearly basis. It used to be that you only ever heard about the KBO or Japan whenever they produced the generational talent, but now there's more and more guys coming over here every year. And that's good, and it's showing that baseball's having a more worldly influence. I mean, heck, there's now we've seen the past couple of years games being played in the UK, which I still want to go to one of those in England. It's just never the time that I end up going there.
Here's an interesting trade rumor: Alec Bohm.
Okay. Is that 2 years on his contract still?
2 years left on his contract.
2 or 3?
2.
Okay.
For Crochet.
For Derek Crochet?
Yeah.
From the White Sox?
From the White Sox.
Why?
I don't know. It's a rumor that's just been...
The Phillies don't super
being
need
tossed
pitching.
around. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's very... I don't think it would be a very good move for the Phils.
One thing you have to realize is that Garrett Crochet only really caught fire this past season. He was okay
This is true.
And that's something I think to really take note at. So there's that to think about. I'm just trying to think about, is there anything else that we've... I mean, there's stuff like Jorge Soler, I believe, also went to the Angels early. The Angels are making some trades. Because they realize that Trout's career might be over due to all the injuries that keep coming back to haunt him. He's going to be out with more injuries, I guarantee it, this upcoming season. They lost Shohei, so they're just signing everyone in hopes that they become good.
Okay. Padres wise, Luis Ariz, Jason Adam, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Adrian Marhone, and Luis Campusano all are under arbitration this year, but are still under control of the team going into next winter.
Huh.
Big for the Padres because it means we have a bat.
There's no way that Jason Adams stays there past the trade deadline, which is a shame. Because he's a fucking brilliant reliever.
At all. He's a brilliant reliever. So is Marhone.
I'm smelling Reds all over that.
For who?
Adam.
No, I know, but for who?
Oh.
We're not going to deal him.
I mean...
No. I appreciate it. No.
I'm just throwing toxic waste sour candy at Jose.
I will. You know what? I will take a grape strawberry.
Absolutely wonderful for our audio listeners out there.
You know, I think one of the big important things that the Padres need to do. This is from bias.
Right. Get our Padres.
We need to lock down Ariz and either Cease or King. We need somebody to replace an aging
The Giants
Darvish.
aren't even looking at Ariz for a trade, but I really hope you guys get him and the Dodgers don't. I hope you guys manage to lock him down.
Lock him down.
Yeah.
He is using the same guy that Snell is using.
Scott Boras? Is it?
Yeah. Which screwed
Scott
us over
Boras
twice now.
He's a fucking awful
He
agent.
screwed us over twice
he's
now.
He's a scummy person,
And
too.
he screwed over, arguably, I think, probably one of the better players of the year, Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I mean...
That was sad, because he straight up lied to Freddie.
Yeah.
They didn't offer you a contract. Freddie found out from the front office of the Braves that he was given a contract and Scott Boras hit
after he'd signed, and that's an awful thing.
And even I don't know if you got to see that, but even Dave Roberts had said, had we known that they had offered him a contract for the remainder of his career, we would have never have signed him. Yeah, because he was a lifelong Brave. I honestly think if Freddie tells the Dodgers that he's going to retire X amount between the year, I think they give him back to the Braves.
I think so too.
I think most clubs are in agreement with that thing. For instance, Matt Carpenter was dealt back to not dealt, he was given to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
From where he started to where he's going to end.
Yeah.
To the same respect, for instance, I believe if Will Myers had continued to play baseball, I don't think he quit. I don't think he retired. I think he's, his career ran out of time. He burned out before he was really done.
That retirement was a shock. I mean, the guy's 33.
No, exactly.
Yeah, he was an All-Star once in his rookie of the year and All-Star. He was never that great overall throughout his entire career.
Will Myers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's an average. He's a clubhouse guy.
Mm.
He is there to break tension and to communicate between the team and the front office.
If you look at it, he started bright rookie of the year, All-Star. After that, no fielding awards despite being a decent fielder.
No hitting awards.
No hitting awards. No
made it to the All-Star game and the home run derby in 2016.
252 hitter.
He's an average. He's literally what you define as an average hitter.
He's an average player. Managed to get a decently long career out of it.
10 years?
10 years. Yeah, 10 years. 2013 through 2023.
Yeah, 10 years. Means he gets free access to all MLB parks regardless.
That is true. He got his golden passport. That's right.
Speaking of another player who got his golden passport, Jurickson Profar. Do you think he resigns with the Padres? Or do you think he goes somewhere else?
Wasn't he in Colorado for a bit?
He started off this season in Colorado. Or last season in Colorado. We picked him up halfway through last season. And he actually did not play too bad for us. He picked up a lot of the games that we were going to drop.
Profar is just one of those guys who I don't remember knowing about until very recently because he's kind of showed up out of nowhere. He's been around since 2012. I don't think most people realize
he has a golden passport.
Yeah, I don't think most people realize he debuted for the Rangers in 2012, which is crazy.
For those of you who don't know,
he was on the Yu Darvish Rangers.
Yep. For those of you who don't know what a golden passport is, when you've played 10 years in the MLB, you are given a lifetime pass to free games, which is a gold card with your name on it and the team that you last played for.
To put this in perspective, how long ago 2012 was, he was in the Rangers with Yu Darvish and Nelson Cruz and...
Before Corey left.
Who was that? Josh Hamilton.
It was right before they signed Corey Seager.
No, that was recent. Corey Seager was a couple years ago. What do you mean right before?
Right before. Right before he
left LA. That was 2 years ago.
Right before he left LA.
He hadn't even debuted yet. I don't think Kyle Seager had.
I don't think his brother had either.
No.
This is when Tatis was still in the pipeline in the Dominican.
Yeah, Kyle Seager, I think, did he debut 2013 or was he earlier than that? No, 2011. He had debuted at this time.
Kyle had debuted.
Corey
was still in high school. No, Corey was in college. Did Corey go through college?
I don't know Corey Seager's
history. Relatively young. I don't think
he debuted 2015. He's
2 years.
He's 30.
Later.
So yeah.
So he did go through high school.
Yeah.
So he was a college player.
Yeah, which is just something to think about. I was gonna say I completely forgot about Josh Hamilton. I'm like, who was the druggy one who kept getting on drugs and was on the Angels? Josh Hamilton is what I'm thinking of. That guy was absolutely insane talented, and then that was the era when the Rangers made back-to-back World Series and lost. True. Yeah, 2010, 2011. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on this offseason, but Snell is the really first big piece. And hey, what do you know? He finally decided to find a team before 2 weeks out.
Injury update for Joe Musgrove after having Tommy John is everything looked great.
What's his timeline for return?
He'll be ready for week 1 of spring training. He's already throwing, which is really good for the Padres. He is not the only Padre to have undergone surgery.
Well.
Johnny Brito is still out. He did have surgery directly at the end of the... Yep. Right. He's expected to maybe by March, which is 6 months.
That's still a fast timeline.
Stephen Kolek, elbow tendonitis. He's a Rule 5 draft pickup. 5.21 ERA with 42 appearances this season. He's also sitting in that timeline of roughly about 6 months. His is not TGS, but his is a significant tear to his labrum. Right. That being said, there are other guys in that did have surgeries. Luis Arraez, Manny Machado with his finger, Hassan Kim also with his shoulder.
And we also don't know where he's going.
And that's a big one. Is he going to stick around in San Diego?
There's
he does not have
spot for him at the moment.
Exactly. We figured that out last year.
What about Grandpa? Oh, wait.
Oh, wait. Where did he go? To a team that crashed and burned.
What do you guys get for him again?
Johnny Brito and another pitcher.
Oh,
where's
delightful.
Johnny Brito? Sitting on the bench.
It's also freaking wonderful that so many other players you guys traded away made it to the World Series on different teams.
6.
Yeah.
6 players made it into the postseason. No. After we were eliminated, there were still 9 former Padres in MLB that were active.
And we're not talking former Padres from like 2019. We're talking recent, like last couple of years.
Exactly. Now, after the Padres had been eliminated, there were still 9 active. After the Dodgers made it to the World Series, there were 6.
Yeah.
And every single one of them was on the Yankees, except for 1.
Yep.
Who was on the Dodgers.
Now, one big piece we've not talked about, because I think people don't really think about it as much anymore, just because he's exactly known for one thing, and it's Joey Gallo. Where's he going?
You know, I don't think I see him staying where he's at.
Padres.
No. Heavens no.
Why not? Explain why not.
Consistency?
Right, but he's cheap, and he's also only 31, so there's that. I mean, the guy's a career 194 hitter with 208 home runs.
Position?
DH.
No.
Yeah.
We already talked to Manny.
I mean, sure, but also...
But then again, we also gave a freaking Graham Pauly.
Yeah.
Our best shot at moving Manny to just DH.
Which he needs to. He's slowed down a lot.
Manny, love the guy, needs to move to DH. Bogarts, love the guy, needs to be moved to not an everyday player. Mm-hmm. You are not 20 like you were.
I called
10
it
years
at the
ago.
time. I called it at the time. What a fucking terrible contract signing that was.
Oh, what did it do? It almost cost us the postseason last year.
How much is his contract, Xander Bogaerts?
Bogarts,
I'll look it
I
up.
think he's still got six years left.
That's...
I mean, we're like a third of the way through with Tatis. We're a third of the way through with Manny.
Yeah, $280 million for Bogarts' contract. What's up?
We should move on.
That's why I looked at the time. We should, but I just want to clarify this: $280 million, 11 years for Bogarts.
Real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
Thoughts on your manager? My former manager.
I can't say my thoughts on here because they qualify as threats. I cannot give my appropriate thoughts on Bob Melvin on this podcast.
I will say, I think, in my opinion, from watching your guys' sideline, you guys struggled in the games just like we did when he was with us. In the games that you should win, but you don't.
Yeah. I want to point out that with a worse team in his first full season, not counting COVID, Gabe Kapler led the Giants to 107 wins. Yeah, we finished under 500 this season.
To be fair,
and that was a team without Blake Snell.
If you look at it,
that was a team without
almost
Blake
every
Snell.
team in the National League started out under 500 except for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Anyway,
I started out under 500. You started out under 500.
Let's move on for a little bit. You want to talk about college football? What do you want to move on to next?
Sure, I guess we can knock out college football. So
this will be a shorter segment.
Very much. Oregon, number 1. Thoughts? Do they deserve to be where they're at?
Oregon, yes.
After last week's game, you honestly think they still deserve to be number 1?
Sure.
They struggled. That was what? A 3-point victory?
But they won.
They still won. I think, based off of what we're seeing, Oregon, you have Oregon, Ohio State, and I think one of the other teams.
Yeah.
Still pretty good. Oregon's probably the best chance at any team to win the rest. Win out. That's all they got to do.
Sorry, I'm being quiet. My subwoofer's making a very weird noise right now. I don't know
It's
what.
just buzzing.
It's just buzzing, and nothing's plugged into it. Odd.
Buzz.
It's making a very bizarre buzzing sound.
Reminds me
it sounds
of
like
Beedrill.
It sounds like when something's not plugged in. Oh yeah, guess who introduced Jose to the world of Pokemon ROMs on his phone today? Your fiance's not going to be.
No.
You're going to be spending so much time on that. Anyway. So, yeah. You want to mention...
Do I? No. Am I going to?
Yeah,
yes.
you should.
I work in Southern Oregon.
People who watch the channel know what you do, so...
I coach college football at one of its smallest levels, and in this season for the first time, and I think 6 or 7 years, no, it's like dang near 10 years, that the university has made it to playoffs. No, I'm good for now. Okay. We had all intentions of making it to playoffs. Our season went 8-3 overall. came down to who they were going to pick into the playoffs, and they allowed a team that went 5 wins, 5 losses into the playoffs.
Do you want to talk about why they made it in?
That team proceeded to win over a team that was, I believe, 8-2. They only made it into the playoffs because if you win your conference, you go to playoffs. Don't get me wrong, I like that style, but let's be honest, there are some situations where even if you win your conference, you should not get in just because of that.
It's an embarrassing record to have, even if you make it in.
You're one of 2 teams that went sub 500. You win, you're now above 500, and you get a playoff game over 4 teams that played 8-3. Those top 4 teams that played 8-3 had the 4 highest scoring potentials in NAIA.
Yeah.
And where are they? Not a single one of them made it into the playoffs. They all sat at home. Carroll College, Southern Oregon University, and 2 others from the East Coast sat at home on their couches and watched football on Saturday instead of playing.
Yeah.
Because we all know that if that hadn't been true and those 4 teams had played, they would be preparing for another game this week.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Which is a real shame, because I would have loved to go to some of those and just... Yeah, I know you were going to go to one of them. Like, I mean, you normally don't travel with the team, but
Correct.
You were offered to that time.
I was offered to do a lot of things.
You could have either taken it earlier in the season or that one. You didn't take it earlier, so you could take that one.
I didn't take it earlier because I honestly believed in my heart that this was a team that maybe could go all the way, but if we didn't, we would make it far enough to make the school proud.
And
I think we
did do that. I mean, look at Gunner.
Gunner Gates, National Player of the Year, ranked 8th nationally in CFB NAIA Division 1 through 3.
That is actually fucking phenomenal. Like, yeah, we didn't make the playoffs, but that's still massive. That's huge recognition for the school.
Not to mention the coach, who's a second-year coach.
Yeah. What was our record last year?
Our record last year was 6-4. So we were 2 games better than we were last. 1 game better than technically.
Doesn't? Jose.
I know. That was an accident.
If you could not move the table, the very flimsy table that the audio device is on right now. Earthquake drill.
Oh no, not the sunscreen.
Oh god. Sunscreen lotion. No! Oh, man.
Not sponsored by Coppertone.
Speaking of earthquakes, very brief sidebar here. We're in Oregon. We're in Southern Oregon, as Jose has been mentioning. We got hit by a bomb cyclone last week.
2 of them.
2 of them, and there might be a third upcoming. The
Correct.
second one, we didn't... I really didn't even really notice the second one. The first one, we lost power. Insert an image here, which I'll try to remember to put on when I'm editing this. I'll just plop it in on the screen for a bit. We made a pie on the grill. We forgot to turn it as much as we should have. Because like, our stovetop is out. So we made the pie on a propane stove grill, like a camping grill. Camping stove outside. No, not camping stove, a full-on like barbecue stove, propane stove outside. And we kind of charcoaled the bottom of it. We kind of charred the entire thing. Gave it flavor.
Not our proudest moment.
No. I also could not make it to class the next day because there was a down power line, meaning I couldn't get out of the driveway.
This is true.
Fun stuff. Well, I meant my afternoon class, not my morning class, which was actually a shame. Anyway, let's move on. I think we're going to get into the whole tech stuff here. Starting things off, Black Ops 6. Not my favorite Call of Duty game ever, but it seems to be the favorite of a lot of people out there, as it's been called by Activision and Call of Duty to be the biggest Call of Duty launch ever. I think that's in terms of total players, which does not surprise me, since the first one to be on Game Pass at launch, since the whole Activision stuff merger went through during the part of MW3 Remake's life cycle. So it was on Game Pass from day one, which is how Jose and I are playing. We didn't buy this. But I think it's a pretty good Call of Duty game, and the community seems to agree. It's gotten much better reviews than any game since the Modern Warfare 2019 reboot started, and I don't disagree with that.
I also don't disagree with it. I think there are a couple things that they need to fix.
Sure. But hey,
some bug features like getting rid of save files after an update.
Yeah.
Very irritating, especially when you
save files. We mean zombies to clarify.
Zombies, not just us, but I think some of the other major streamers. The guy who was at 999 levels, and that got deleted. There's a couple other things. Like I was in the middle of completing Terminus's, all of its Easter eggs, including the hidden ones. That
I've not even really tried that.
I needed, I think, maybe another half an hour in that before. But when I loaded in to go and play it, I loaded in. Oliver was sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
I said, "Where the heck is it?" We checked Instagram and X. It was deleted. Do I think that should have been given back to us? Yes. Or in exchange, give us tokens.
Although one thing I will say is that they've been very on top of fixing these things as they have happened. These glitches, these problems. They've fixed them often within the day, which is good. And there's some development teams out there that didn't do that. Modern Warfare 3's remake from last year. Anyone who watched me play the campaign of that knows how I feel about that game's campaign. Black Ops 4 had a better campaign, which is saying something because that game didn't even have a campaign. We got an actually fun storyline this year with cool side quests and reason to replay it. I think it's really nice to have that. That's a lot of fun. Call of Duty storylines typically, unless you really like certain levels, don't have a whole different, they don't really normally have a lot of replay value in just the story itself. But there's different side missions now. There's reason to go back through actual levels outside of just, I like this one mission. There's different things to do, different ways around levels. It's really creative, and even though Cold War was never the best received Call of Duty game, I do really think I like that style of campaign. I'm glad they brought it back for this. Reminds me a little bit of Battlefield Hardline, which also was not appreciated at the time, but I think is also a pretty good game. Overall, I think it's really great. Am I annoyed they're still doing that fucking operator skin, paid money bullshit? Yeah. Am I gonna buy any? Fuck no. But overall, I think it's a very, very good Call of Duty game. We're still not obviously back to the golden era. And I think we never probably will be. But it's better than one we've seen in a very long time. Now, moving on to other tech things. Pokemon Go recently had the Pokemon Go Wild event last weekend. We both participated in it. I think it'd be interesting because I actually bought the pass for that. Jose didn't. We can give our different takes on that. So, Jose, what were your thoughts about the spawns and stuff like that?
The spawns were interesting. They were really cool. The one bug I think that I was a little bit irritated by was the lack in comparison. Yes, I understand when you buy the pass, you get more of the incentives, like the Safari Balls. I do think that needed to have been fixed or increased because, yes, when you complete the challenge, you do get one Safari Ball, and when you complete the next one, you get 4. I understand that. But when one of the challenges is to catch an animal, and by animal I mean Pokemon, in a Safari Ball, which in theory, it should stay in the ball.
Yeah.
But when you connect with it and it gets out of the ball, then you don't have another one. That is bugged.
Yeah.
You needed to have fixed it. I had that happen to me, I believe, twice. Once I did miss, but the second one I did get, and it got away. And that was super frustrating because there wasn't enough time.
We were at the grocery store at the time.
We were. We did not have enough. I did not have enough time to go out of my way and try and get another try because there was not enough time left. Yeah, could I have done it another day and gotten the whole thing to reset? Of course. That's not the point.
Right.
It shouldn't be bugged like that.
One thing I want to bring up is that, Jose, you did not play the Ultra Beast event last summer. I did. I did not have the paid research for that. I didn't buy that pass. Kind of wish I had. I was in the UK at the time. But one thing they did was make the Beast Balls for the Ultra Beasts during raids replace the Premier Balls, which basically are an almost guaranteed catch. They are a 5 times multiplied catch rate, just like the Safari Balls were for this event. But in this event, as you found out, if you do the raids, you don't have they don't give them to you unless you are paid, unless you have the paid pass. You don't get, you just get standard Premier Balls. That's dumb. That's really dumb. I kind of figured they would give you the Go Safari Balls for that because they did for the Ultra Beast event, but I guess not. I think the general spawns, I get that it was a way to introduce toxicity into the game. I get that. I think the types were a bit, the actual spawns outside of the legendaries, which are awesome. The normal wild spawns weren't that great. The mighty Pokemon were really cool though. Now, was it a bitch to catch one if you did not have the Safari Ball? Yes. The catch rate, even with an Ultra Ball and a Golden Raspberry, was terrible.
Remember? Because I missed it?
Yes, you did. And to be fair, I also missed one trying to do it that way. I also did catch one. I was 1 for 2 on trying to catch without Safari Balls.
I was
but
2
the
for 3.
amount of mighty Pokemon and the amount of perfects and shinies out in the wild, that was really cool. I do think they should have gone more with the route of having a few more, like, make it easier to get the Ghost Safari Balls. I was at the point where Jose was like, I have 2. I'm like, well, I have 68. This is just not fair.
Yeah, and
obviously they want people to buy the pass, but there are different ways to do incentives for that.
Like,
rather than locking most of the community out of basically 90% of the stuff.
It felt unfun. I got to a point where Oliver was just going to go out and do them on his own.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't fun for me to go out and do them.
We were doing raids.
And
raids were good.
No, exactly. Those were fun. But the incentive should be that I can spin X number of Pokestops and then receive blank number.
The way
but
they
it's so
described
sporadic.
The way they described it, I thought it'd be like 1 in 10, 1 in 5. It was random. I got barely.
Because I think I spun a total in that entire weekend that we were doing it.
Yeah.
I think I maybe spun 50 different ones, and I got 1.
That is stupid.
Which is ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna say and have these challenges, you need the Safari Ball to catch blank, to catch a Pokemon, and have that as a set challenge to get 4 Safari Balls and 4 revives and 4 whatever it was. I believe it was potions. Then make it accommodating to what you have out there.
Now, I think this may have been the first Go Wild event or the second one. It's not like stuff like Community Day. By now, Community Day, they've nailed that. I think Community Day is a great and tested formula. I think we can get to that with the Wild event eventually. I think overall it was a success, but I've seen a lot of comments on their Instagram mentioning the same things that you were. Yeah, there should absolutely be bonuses for people who feel like they want to buy the pass. But also, you shouldn't feel completely left out if you don't. That's just kind of dumb. Because eventually this is going to end up... What's going to happen is what we've been doing. One person with a pass catches all the mighty Pokemon and just trades them to someone else. Which is
Mind you, we're not trading them for major things. We're just trading them
I
need the unlock.
Yeah, I will trade you a Mamoswine for a Weedle. How about that? We'll do that.
Wink,
but,
wink, he thinks I have a Weedle.
Weedle. Do you have one?
No, I have a bunch of Weedles.
Oh, okay. I think I only have one.
I'll give you a Beedrill.
Okay, perfect.
I actually don't have a Beedrill.
I think that counts as a lucky trade.
I think it does.
I think most of the mighty ones do, though. Although it was really cool to be able to catch stuff like a Tyrantrum fully, like, over 3,000 combat power. That was awesome. Mighty Pokemon, in my opinion. Sure, we got access to some really cool legendaries. Another thing they need to fix is that things caught in Safari Balls cannot leave Pokemon Go to Pokemon Home, and it sucks. They already made the transfer cost for those in terms of energy quite a lot. Just, come on. I know it's because they don't have a sprite for the Pokeball, or they don't have a model for the Pokeball, for the Ghost Safari Ball in any of the Switch games. But just let us do that. Come on. Especially, I think a lot of people probably got that, because one of the things that you got with the event pass was up to 5 daily Pokestop, or daily raid tickets per day, which I think a lot of people did in order to catch legendaries and transfer them to Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, and you can't do that with the ones caught in those Pokeballs, and that's annoying. Let us do that. Outside of that, I think it was a pretty good event overall. Not as good as the Ultra Beast event from this past summer. I think that was those felt a little bit more special. But I like the Mighty Pokemon idea. I hope that returns for different events in the future. I think that was pretty good overall. A good testing ground for things that could be done a little bit better. I'd say it's probably like a 6, 7 out of 10. It wasn't great, but I had a lot of fun with it. Moving on to more things that are gaming related. Let's talk about the game releases for December of 2024. Man, there's nothing coming out next month. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Marvel Rivals. That's really it. There's not much else. I'm super hyped for the Indiana Jones game. Marvel, I'll take a look at that. Probably won't be going for that right away. I'm really not quite sure. Jose and I have recently been playing Police Simulator Patrol Officers. There is another Police Simulator game coming out. I do not know if it's from the same company, however. It's called, I believe it's Police Simulator Highway Officers, so I think it is. I'll just quickly take a look at that. But I really hope it is, because that's a good one. Police Simulator Highway Officers. I don't know if it's by the same development team. Actually, no, it is. I say it is. It's a direct sequel. That's pretty awesome. Once that goes on sale, I'll probably pick that up because we really enjoy Patrol Officers here. Now we're game sharing. We can both play that. There's going to be some more DLC coming out for Hunter Call of the Wild, which that game is really, really old at this point. It came out in 2017, so people are still playing that. I know Jose plays that occasionally. This is like the 15th expansion for that thing. I guess people will like that. I don't know. The full version of Animal Crossing Pocket is coming out for Android and iOS. I've not played it. Maybe I should. A lot of what's coming out this upcoming month in December is games that have already been out on other systems for a month or two, like the remaster of Lollipop Chainsaw, which I was disappointed by. I haven't played it, but I've seen it, and it's not great, as much as I like the original. And I want it to be more accessible because it's a really fun game, and it's like $70 to get the original because of how limited release it was. The remaster apparently not that great, but they're finally back porting it to Xbox One and PS4, so last-gen consoles. That's a lot of what's coming out in December, actually, is last-gen ports of already existing titles. There's some game called Delta Force coming out on the PC, which is an FPS. I think it's a PC exclusive, I believe. I'm not quite sure. It reminds me of... Jose, did you ever play that U.S. military-developed third-person shooter that was on the PS4?
No.
I think it was on Xbox as well. I think it was called America's Army. And it was like they did a whole bunch of these after 9/11. They kept going for a while. It reminds me a little bit of that. Delta Force game 2024. It's listed for 2025, so it's coming out earlier. Free-to-play shooter tactic... oh, shit. I did not know this. Being developed by TIMI Studios, known for... You want to guess what else they've made? Guess a random FPS.
Call of Duty.
Correct, which one?
Ghosts.
Mobile.
Tracks.
TIMI Studios, which I actually like Call of Duty Mobile. It's using the Unreal 5 engine and 4. Platforms, it's coming out on Windows. Wait, is this already out?
Pidgey!
Hold on a second.
I just got a Pidgey.
Fucking phenomenal, Jose. Congratulations.
It's 1 foot, 4 pounds.
So wait, this is... We don't know when... It says it's coming out for the PC, I would assume first, because it's also... Oh boy, it says it's coming out on iOS, which, it says Unreal 5. I want to see how that works. Speaking of iOS, you like the Resident Evil 2 remake? Guess where that's going? iOS and Android. I actually like that on my console. I might be tempted to pick it up, assuming it's not free to play with a bunch of expansions for my iPad. That would actually be a considerable amount of fun, I think. I don't know how well it would work, but I think that would be interesting to take a look at. There's really not much coming out. Typically, a lot of the things that people would be looking for in December come out, like games that you might normally expect to be bought around the holidays, typically actually come out in November and October, and it's a very light back half of the year, I think, in terms of games. Like I said, expansions for Call of the Wild, there's probably a bunch of indie games coming out, and I guarantee the Switch is getting some more bloatware and crappy App Store ports to the Switch, but there's really nothing else coming out, as far as I'm aware. Marvel Rivals and Indiana Jones those are the big ones, Indiana Jones being an Xbox and PC exclusive, which I'm very hyped for. First-person action game. I like the Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones has had a really rough history with games in general. I think the last one... Because there was a canceled Indiana Jones game for the Xbox One that was supposed to be like 2014, but was canceled when Disney took over LucasArts, which is a real shame. And this game that's coming out is not that game. That was a third-person thing. I think it was actually a sequel to the Staff of Kings, which was weirdly, I think it was on like the Wii, the PS2, and the DS. It was a very oddly released game. I actually did play that on the Wii and the DS, and it was okay. Outside of that, Indiana Jones games, aside from Lego, have always been kind of shit. So, I'm very optimistic for this game. From what we've seen, some people have an issue with it being first person. I personally don't. I think they did that to not be called an Uncharted ripoff, which is weird because Uncharted is heavily based on the Indiana Jones films. But I think that's why they went down that route. I personally am really excited for this game. Again, that'll be on Game Pass day one, so I'll be playing that. December 8th comes out. If you have an Xbox or a PC and launch Game Pass, you'll see the ads for that all over the place. I'm hyped for it. Marvel Rivals, I'm optimistic. Marvel games, I mean, if you look at... Did you ever play, Marvel's Avengers from like 2020?
I have seen it. I have never played it, nor will I, because I've heard it's a really, really bad game.
How do I put this? That game was on Game Pass and could not hold my attention for more than 2 hours. If you want to play as any character in their iconic outfits, even just their basic superhero outfits, you have to buy them. In a game that was $70 fucking dollars.
No, thank you.
That's so dumb. That's so stupid. And
you know what I can do with $70? Go to our Patreon.
Yeah, which is not functional yet. I don't know why I promoted that. It doesn't work, as we figured out. I need to.
Or you can go follow us on Twitch.
That's true. That is free. That one.
And TikTok.
And TikTok and X, and we have an Instagram which I need to reactivate.
And of course, as you're listening, to our YouTube.
Yes, the YouTube account, obviously. Now, anything else we really want to go over? Upcoming live stream. This is going to be a very short podcast because we don't really have the formula down. I think this is going to go for a lot longer later on. I think it's just fine to have the first episode be fairly short. And if you want, email us, send us in submissions. What do you want us to talk about? We'll talk about things, all that stuff. We'll have a donation box set up if you guys want to donate for us to play specific games because games are not cheap. If they're on Game Pass, I'll play them. But they're not cheap overall. Hey, actually, I might do a stream of Indiana Jones Staff of Kings for the DS, which I actually do own. But because I don't want to get a capture DS, because those are expensive, I'll probably play the ROM of it. I do actually own the physical cartridge, though. Upcoming live stream ideas. We've been talking about doing Far Cry 3 multiplayer stream for a very long time, since you got here in like late September.
Since this week, it's been you.
Yeah, but we've discussed it on a live stream that I did, which was a different live stream. That was a Call of Duty. That was Nuketown 2020. That was Nuketown 24/7 when that first came out. So that's been like almost a month now. Damn. And I think that would be really fun because we had some fun when we played that level. So I think we should do that as a Far Cry 3 multiplayer stream. GTA, Call of Duty, maybe. I'll be doing some Marbled It Up Ultra. I will finally be finishing Generator Rex, Agent of Providence. The last episode to that stream series came out about a year ago. And I owe it to you guys for me to finish that. As well as Jassant, a game that I was playing when I went on my mental health hiatus. I think I have 2 episodes left of Jassant and 1 of Generator Rex, Agent of Providence. I've not played it in about a year, but from what I remember, I was doing 2 episodes. I was doing 2 levels per stream, and there are 3 levels left, so I'll just make it a longer stream. Outside of that, anything you want to stream on Game Pass, let us know. We can do some more stuff. Jose should be moving out of my place where he's been staying with me for the last couple months relatively soon, moving into the house of another streaming contributor who's been on a couple streams in the past, that being Ryan. Not going to say where, obviously, but close enough that we can actually do these podcasts in person on the off chance that we do them. I think making it once or twice a month should be our goal, not a weekly thing.
Unless you want it to be weekly.
Good
luck, because we are very busy individuals.
Yeah, I could do weekly, most likely, but once I get job
Heaven
stuff...
forbid, this day that fucking, June rolls around, goodbye to
oh my god,
podcast.
dude. Yeah, absolutely. But also, I want to get a job either at Dollar Tree.
Hey, speaking of which,
actually,
have you filled out that application yet?
I started it. I actually did start filling that out. But also, I want to get a job at the college that we both attend, but I've put in 17 applications since August. If anyone from SOU hiring is hearing this, can you at least look at them? And if you reject me, can you please tell me why? I've gotten 2 responses, both of which are no's, and no one bothered to tell me why. Some common courtesy, please. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. This is going to be a shorter episode today, like I said, because we don't really have a set formula for this, but I've really enjoyed this. Send us some things to talk about. We'll probably have a better formula going forward, but I think this is a good start. Oh, and next time, I will hopefully have an XLR cable so we can actually use my microphone.
And as always, thank you for joining us and Coach on the Critic.
Yep, this has been great. Signing off.